Welcome everyone to our very first episode of our podcast, True Justice. My name is Edgar Puente.
And I'm Anthony Moreno.
Anthony, why do you sound like a girl?
Don't worry about it. Just keep the podcast going.
My fault. And today we'll be discussing Patrick Waller's Innocence Project case.
Wait, I've never heard of an Innocence Project case. What is that and why is it important to discuss?
Well, stated by the innocenceproject.org, the Innocence Project is a national litigation and public policy organization dedicated to exonerating wrongfully convicted individuals through DNA testing and other scientific advancements, the reinforcement of criminal justice system to prevent future injustice, but many of the cases are pro bono cases.
Well, what's a pro bono case, and what does it have to do with the Innocence Project?
Well, it's basically a case with no charge, associated mostly with low-income clients. Now, it's connected to the Innocence Project because they partner up with legal clinics and law firm attorneys that provide pro bono. Anyways, about Patrick's case. Have you heard anything about it? Does it ring any bells?
No, I haven't. Oh, well.
So enthusiastic. Man, what's up with you, man? Log in.
Go.
Well, basically, he was wrongfully accused of robbery and kidnapping, serving 16 years in prison.
And how does someone get wrongfully accused, and why did he get wrongfully accused?
Usually wrong place, wrong time. But for him, it was mostly picture. Well, wrong picture, wrong time. There were 4 victims during the event. Both are couples. The authorities had a photo lineup of the people who matched the description of the suspect.
And what was the description of the suspect? Was he close to being the actual suspect?
It was 5'10", 230 pounds. But the crazy thing is, he didn't match the height or weight. Patrick was 5'9", 160 pounds. It didn't make any sense. Anyways, the victims picked this photo from the lineup, then picked them again from the live lineup. So already he looked suspicious. So the police arrested him.
Okay, but what exactly happened? I'm still a bit confused.
On March 25th, 1992, a couple were abducted at gunpoint by 2 men. This took place in Dallas, Texas. The men forced themselves into the couple's car and had them withdraw $200 from the ATM. After this, the suspects forced the couple to drive to an abandoned home where they tightened them up and had them remove their clothing.
So the couple was fully naked at this point?
Yes, the woman was sexually assaulted by the perpetrators.
And what about the second couple? Did anything happen to them, or where did they go?
So, during the assault, the second couple stumbled upon the abandoned home where they met the suspect and the other victims. They were later held at gunpoint with the other victims and tied up naked. According to the testimony of the victims, the 2 suspects drove away separately in the couple's 2 vehicles.
Well, what about the couples? Did they end up escaping or no?
Luckily, a school district officer drove by the house and heard their screams for help. They were rescued. So, Patrick Waller is obviously the one being accused, but his accomplice has not been identified yet. The 4 victims were Sabrina Curve, Bruce Dixon, Brenda Goodhart, and Rick Goodhart. Brenda and Rick are married. Sabrina was the one who got sexually assaulted.
Well, that's tragic to hear about Sabrina. And who ended up taking Patrick's case again?
And an attorney named Mike Aware. He's part of the Innocence Project of Dallas, Texas.
And how did they reach out to Patrick? And how are they able to help out?
The Innocence Project doesn't reach out. The people reach out to them. They receive over 65,600 letters from the incarcerated individuals seeking for help to prove their innocence. The intake team thoroughly reviews the case that have been requested.
Well, I think it's crazy to think that there are people in this world locked away for others' actions, wrongfully accused. It's devastating to see how many lose their families because they see the individual as a criminal, someone who brought disgrace to the family name. This also causes their families to turn away from them and feel ashamed. Many of these individuals not only lose their freedom, but also endure personal hardships.
That's what I'm saying. These people lose too much. Time with loved ones, growing up, exploring the world. During an interview, Patrick said that he still plays video games at the age of 50. He considers himself a big kid because he lost all those years. He lost 16 years. That's a huge gap for anyone's mental development. Patrick was still young at the age of 22. He was finishing college at the University of Texas at Arlington.
Something isn't making sense, though. A judge can't reopen a case and say that convicted is innocent. There must have been someone who helped prove Patrick Waller's innocence.
Okay, stated by the innocenceproject.org about his case, Waller was represented by a private counsel throughout his appeal process, but DNA testing was finally conducted for his case late 2007 as a part of the case review conducted by the Dallas District Attorney's Office Conviction Integrity Unit. DNA testing in the case was paid by the Innocence Project of Texas. The result revealed a man's profile and excluded Patrick Waller as the perpetrator.
They didn't use DNA testing 16 years prior?
They did, but it didn't do much. Blood testing from the rape kit was collected from the sexual assault victim and semen from Sabrina's vaginal swab. Waller could not be excluded as a potential contributor of the semen. However, 58% of the population couldn't be excluded either. The case was mostly based off eyewitness testimony and forensic evidence. The man's profile that has matched DNA was Brian Bell, a man serving 45 years in prison for burglary that took place a month after the incident. Brian confessed to the original crime to the authorities when confronted about it. He additionally told the police his accomplice, who was not identified but now is. His name was Lamondo Simmons. Court officials explained to the press that Simmons could not have been charged since the statute of limitation of the crime has passed.
It's great that they found the two men that did the crime, but what about Patrick? He spent 16 years in prison for something he didn't do, 16 years trying to prove his innocence from the start. What did the state do for him?
So, many states have laws on the books that offer compensation for the ones who were wrongfully accused. A federal standard of compensate those of a minimum of $50,000 per year of incarceration, plus an additional amount for each year spent on death row. Texas, on the other hand, gives $80,000 per year, as well as $25,000 per year of parole or registered as a sex offender. Patrick got paid $1.2 million from the state of Texas.
Well, I think it's great that there are laws out there to help people who were wrongfully accused. But also, no amount of money can truly make up for all those years lost. Even though $1.2 million may sound like a lot, it still doesn't erase the trauma Patrick went through. But hopefully he's able to use that money and find some peace and rebuild his life.
So, not only did the state help him out, but the community tried bringing him back in, tried welcoming him. So, in honor to welcome Patrick Waller back to society, the university gave him the opportunity to be a guest coach for the men's basketball team against McSee State. The University of Texas of Arlington are D1 in basketball, so it was a big deal for him. Okay, so Anthony, you heard everything about Patrick Waller's Innocence Project case. What are your thoughts and your opinions?
Well, I think it's heartbreaking and shocking to hear about Patrick Waller's case, and it's unbelievable to see everything he had to go through for something he didn't even do. But I am glad the Innocence Project helped him get justice, even though it was annoying. It was a long process. I also think it just highlights the importance of having legal protections and a strong support system for the ones who are wrongfully accused.
What if you were in his position? Like, let's say you were chilling at home. The police come up to your house. They tell you to put your hands up. You're just all confused. Like, they're all, like, being aggressive. Then you get charged with sexual assault, kidnapping, and robbery.
Well, if I'm being honest, I would be scared at first, but I would get a lawyer and try to sue because I'm not about to get wrongfully accused or something that I didn't do, especially since that's like a big deal. Like, it's a harsh topic, and I feel like it's just upsetting to see that there are people in the world that still get wrongfully accused till this day, and like sometimes there's nothing that they get out of it and they will just get thrown to jail.
There's many cases where they would blame anyone just to close it. There was a case I learned about this girl named Hay. They couldn't find the killer. Like, the crime was so weird because there were so many mixed problems. So there was this one kid named Jay. His story didn't make any sense, but they said that his story and the lineup of the cell phones connected, and they accused Anon of doing it, and he kept fighting for his innocence for this whole time while he was put away. I think he was put away for 25 years. I don't remember. It's pretty vague for me, but this case just reminded me of that, of another person trying to fight for his innocence.
Well, that's a really long time to be locked up for something that person didn't even do. And it's just sad to see that some people don't care that this happens all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot, man. Like, it's tough because think about it, because his family could be thinking that he actually did it, and like whatever the press says, whatever anyone says, it won't change their mind that their kid was like convicted of being of doing rape or kidnapping or robbery. Or thinking about him losing all his friends because they don't want to be associated with a rapist.
But it's also sad because, well, deep down the person didn't actually do it. So then it just leaves him as like, oh, like, what am I going to do? Like, no one's going to believe me. Or he doesn't have anyone to, like, prove himself.
True. But luckily, I mean, this is project pulled up and said, hey, I got you, man. Like, don't trip. Like, I got you.
That's true. They do help.
All right. Well, that's all we got for today. Thank you guys for our very first episode
of our podcast. Thank you for listening. I'm Anthony Moreno.
Thank you for like and subscribe. I'm Edgar Puente.
And yeah, have a good day.
God bless.